Okay, you guys, welcome to another wonderful episode of VPR Radio with your girl Kiana the Goddess and the one and the only amazing partner of mine, DJ FMI. What up, FMI? Looking great as always.
Oh man, how you feeling? Let's start the day like that. How you feeling, Kiana?
I'm getting there. It's been a rumble tumble week. You know, Mercury is in retrograde, so communication is kind of all over the place. I've had issues with my computer, just communicating with people. You know, so other than that, I'm great and I'm blessed. You know, I'm always grateful to wake up another day. Always grateful to come and do VPR. This is like always the highlight of my week. You know.
Definitely is. Just getting up here every morning. Like I'm not gonna lie, VPR. If y'all see that I'm a little bit low on energy, I'm finally back outside DJing these clubs and these late nights. I'm getting old, VPR. Y'all hear me? You got to make sure we charge for these late nights because we ain't staying up at sleep for nothing.
I'm telling you, I know you have those long hours, but you're out there doing it. I see you have a new song. Your partner, I am so overwhelmed with pride and joy for you. Oh man, you're fantastic. You're so talented, and I'm really happy for you. I can't wait to see everything come to fruition.
I see all the great things that you're doing with the artists that you've been working with. You know what I mean? Especially bringing all these great guests here on VPR. You know, the guests that we have here today, I can't wait for you guys to meet him with all his musical background and all the places that he's been seen on, just, you know, with the music. And
yeah, the UN. I mean, he's hit many stages, the White House. I had the great pleasure and shout out to Lachi, who actually introduced us.
Shout out to Lachi, yes.
Shout out to Lachi, she's amazing. When I was on the panel for MeCon, I got to know all of the panelists, and he was one of them. And just listening to his story was like, wow, incredible. He's done some incredible things, him and his partner. So I'm definitely looking forward to that interview.
You see, and also, Kiana, I've been having a battle internally, right? You seen what happened with the Facebook whistleblower?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just to hear that, you know, Facebook and Instagram and all the other little companies that they own, they prioritizing negative content, even though they know what it's doing to their base. Mm-hmm. So to think that they're watching how much we click, of course we know that, you know, with the tracking that our phones are getting an alert every 2 seconds. Do you want to allow this app to track you? Do you want this to follow you? Would you mind if we accept cookies from this website?
Yep.
To see that whistleblower go and tell us algorithmically how they're prioritizing things, negative content, because it gets an emotion out of you.
Yep.
That just baffles.
And it gets you to click on the other side. So I have a big problem with Facebook and with Instagram, which is why I'm really happy. And you guys, I suggest, I know a lot of you watch us through Facebook and through YouTube, but please stream us from www.vprradio.org because we want to take our listeners and our power back from these social media platforms. I just was speaking to DJ Fuji. Shout out to DJ Fuji. He got some of Pudge's new music that I sent over, and he's really excited. He's like, yo, but I haven't seen you on Facebook. You know, you haven't commented on anything. I haven't seen your stuff. And I told him, I said, it's the algorithm. So now you have to go through this whole process of when you want to see someone's content of making them a favorite. And it used to be where you just click the 3 dots and make them a favorite. Now you got to click 3 dots 2 times. So they're making it more ridiculously complex for you to do it so that you don't know. We each have at least like 5,000 friends on Facebook, and I'm sure you only see 1%, you know, 1 to 5% of the same exact people over and over. And so they set up these algorithms so that you have to pay for advertising content, and then they'll give you some of that regular content back. But this is exactly why they continue. They're all after the money. So I can't say that I'm surprised by this. It's of course disappointing because particularly the reason that these studies went into effect were because they wanted to do this teenage Instagram. Mm-hmm. This is why I have not let my children have any sort of social media until they're 16.
That's amazing.
Because it's a mental, it can be mentally defeating. And there's so much bullying and stuff that happens. And my kids already have to deal with enough. It's hard enough raising them in this society.
Mm-hmm. And just
it's toxic.
Just to touch on that, you have to think about all the 16 to 15-year-old girls that are now signing on daily to see the same video victim models or whatever content that they interact with, bulimia videos, and these things are in the forefront now being pushed on social media every day. To the point now, Kiana, I snooze people on Facebook. It's not. It's just because if you're not posting nothing positive, I I'm being honest.
Oh, I don't even snooze them. I just
snooze them 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to see this content because I'm watching what they're trying to push to me. Facebook. Next time you go to Instagram, anybody listen to VPR, watch how the same people that you see every day. Mm-hmm. I have over 5,000 people, and that's not a lot, but it's enough to say that I shouldn't be seeing the same faces every day.
The same 48 people. You know what I mean? In rotation. Day. Every single day. You know what I mean? Isn't that astounding?
And that's what we're at. You have to think, if they had this information about us, if they're watching our tracking, if they're watching our spending habits, if they're watching the websites that we're on, they legit have all of the info they need about us as.
Oh, so much info. And for you guys that don't know, there's many times when you download an app and you instantly give them access through your Facebook, etc. They're all intertwined. You can go through your Facebook settings and you can remove those apps because those apps are tracking what you do on Facebook. And that's why when you go on those apps, you'll see, especially if they have advertisements, you'll see ads that you looked at earlier or stuff that you were scrolling on the web because Facebook is now connected to your, whatever web browser you're using. So they're watching and absorbing all of your activity. But what was astounding to me is that going back to their study, the study process found that they were promoting eating disorders and things like that. So when people would search these things, then from eating disorders, it would go to stuff like self-harm. Okay, so now people are cutting, and a lot of teenage girls unfortunately experience that, and it's a very real phenomenon that sometimes even the parents aren't aware of.
But and another thing that we got to keep in mind is how big are we going to let these social media platforms go? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As a company, if they're getting all of our data from Facebook has been out for maybe 11 years.
Yeah.
Or more than that. So
maybe more than that. No, more than that. Because I remember I think I started on Facebook in 2009 or 8. So, and people had been on it for a couple of years.
You know what I mean? So they have access to all of this. They're seeing what we're doing. And they're influencing our politics. And they're choosing who gets to see what politician, who gets to see what Democrat, what Republican, what liberal. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting to a point of how much control are we going to give these bigger companies? And also our self-awareness. You know what I mean? Turning off Instagram or Facebook or deleting the app for a week and cleansing yourself.
That's right.
What happened when the shortage happened? You remember when they went out? People were just looking at their phones like this.
I know. And that's so funny because even with the whistleblower thing, the only thing I found, because I could care less, I'm not even on, just like you said, the detox, I'm on a regular detox. I'm on there for Goddess Media and for VPR Radio. And that's pretty much it. And then to promote, my clients and events and stuff that we have going on and to interact with people that are positive and really uplifting. Other than that, I don't want to see, like you said, snoozing. I don't want to see the fighting. I don't want to see the constant barrage of, I know that our people are being killed regularly. I know. Unfortunately, we can't react to every single situation, but the way that media pushes it down our throats, I mean, you already know. As me as an empath, I can't deal with it. I'll be like, oh, I'll become a VPR like, hey, hey, FMI.
And, every day we wake up to the new, not the meme or a new trend. Like yesterday was the red flag. Now I'm seeing people posting red flags.
Everybody
I wake up and I'm like, yo, VPR, I have a base knowledge of memeing, all right? So if y'all in the chat, or whatever the case may be, y'all gotta let me know what these mean. MGL, all of these little words and stuff like that. I'm seeing girls put red flags up, and I'm just like, what does this stand for? But if he does this, it's a red flag. If she does this, it's a red flag.
Right.
It's just another click and another trend that someone's getting paid for.
Another trend. I mean, my daughter, Sky, tells me about these TikTok trends. Like one of them that they had going on, I don't know if you heard of this, was stealing stuff from schools.
No,
people were stealing alarm boxes. Also,
I'll do you one better.
Stole the school bus.
It's a list of a monthly challenge of things to do. One month is destroy the take down, steal urinals. I was watching kids steal urinals, lockers right off the wall. Coming to school with tools to take them off the wall and put it on TikTok. Like, yeah, look, kids are now slapping the teacher challenge. That was this month was slap a teacher. And a lot of
that's
teachers
a great
now
way to get in jail early. That's a great way to initiate the school to prison pipeline challenge.
Oh yeah, and kids have been doing it. Kids have been recording themselves, and the teachers are working in the background, and they'll just hit them in the back of the head, punch.
Wow.
And it's been going on TikTok. So every month is a challenge. What these kids have to do, just like a Fortnite, just like you know they have weekly challenges for video games. They have them now for being disruptive on TikTok. And this is where it's scary.
And this is why I'm so gung-ho the way that I am and have been with my kids with social media, because it's no good. And you're talking letting 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds have these social media accounts and having access to these things and thinking these challenges.
Playing with toys and thinking it's cool.
In no way are you going to put this sort of toxic material behavior and ideas into the minds of my children at a young age where they're like sponges. No, thank you.
And it's just like we're at a point now. Look at Dave Chappelle too. Let's connect that to Dave Chappelle.
Let's go.
He went on his segment and said the baby in self-defense killed someone in Walmart. That was not an issue.
Right.
The baby says something about this community or says loose comments. Community takes offense to it, and now the world trying to stop his bag or whatever the case.
Cancel. Right.
You can weigh it how you want to weigh it, but there's something to look at.
It's true. And he also pointed out, as he did, I didn't see this current comedy special, but I definitely saw the last one. And was it controversial? Some of the things he said, absolutely. But was he on point? Absolutely. He particularly said, right? And listen, I want to preface this by saying I have no problem with the LGBTQ community. I have some of my best friends that are part of the LGBTQ community. So I embrace it, and I embrace humankind and human beings as they are. If I don't like you, it's not because of, your sexual identity or preference. It's because of who you are as a person. But he pointed out how Comedy Central allowed him to say nigga, 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 all the time with no problem, which is a derogatory statement against people of color for years. But the minute that he used the word faggot, they X'd him. And I'm not fond of either one of those words, but does one outweigh the other?
Yeah, you see, and that's what I wanted to touch on. Like, is the agenda being pushed, certain group of people are above, being ridiculed, or certain groups have a easier process to get mainstream outrage. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's outrage. The problem.
That's a great terminology that you just used.
Because that's what we're seeing a lot, VPR. We're seeing a lot of mainstream outrage, and it's getting to a point now where I'm not even trying to share certain content because I'm like, I don't want to give them that feeling of I produced this negative content and someone shared it because it got emotion out of me, whether I like it or love it.
Yep.
And
that's what I love about you, partner. And I think us being Libras too, we're so balanced, and we're not offensive people by nature. But now it's like you got to be extra, extra careful, because I just think that the sensitivity, and like you said, we talk about this a lot with the cancel culture, it's at an all-time high. And they're getting that media frenzy, that media outrage, like you said, in mass numbers to say, okay, we're going to cancel this person because they said something that hurt my feelings.
This week
but there's so many things that have happened in this country and continue to happen in this country, and the outrage is not there. I just feel like, and they won't be addressed, and they're still happening behind the scenes. People's human rights are being taken away right in front of our eyes, and our society is focused on Dave Chappelle,
music,
on the show and such, and music and pop culture, and Cardi B, and her dance hall, and twerking on her husband, like whatever else.
I watched before we got on air.
She was doing the wine.
That's how I'm trying to be for my birthday, but you know how I be.
Listen, that's my birthday twin, so I can't even be mad.
But it's the outrage that we face now, and there's kids that are growing up, and the message that's being sent, like, what I mean. And I see a lot of other platforms speaking about even Superman being bisexual. Me, I ain't gonna say.
I saw that.
it's cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It ain't changing his powers or nothing. He can still fight. Don't get it misconstrued.
That's
but
right.
my thing is, you know what I mean? It does send an image to our kids, and I don't have any kids yet, but it's a strange time to grow up with masks.
It's a very strange time with masks. I don't agree. Again, like I said, I'm into humanity. Whoever you are, I embrace you, accept you, and show you love. But we don't need to push any sort of sexual agendas down the throats of our children. I know even the Queens Public Library, I think this was shortly before COVID happened, they were doing like a drag queen read along where drag queens would come in and read to the kids. Why do I need to introduce the life of drag queen and not transgender, but cross-dressing, etc.? Why do I need to explain that to my 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8-year-old? You know what I mean? Isn't that my choice? That like if they encounter that, because where would they encounter? I'm not taking them to a drag show, right? Probably not going to watch drag queens with them. I mean, right? So maybe if they encounter it where we're out somewhere and they say, "Mommy, is that a man or a woman?" Then we can have that conversation. But give me that choice. Why are we pushing these agendas down our children? Children shouldn't even be thinking about sexual identity at 4, 5, 6, 7. Superman should just be Superman.
You get what I'm saying? But and I get people want representation, and that is a big thing.
And representation is a big thing. And absolutely, but it doesn't need to be for children. Represent for teenagers and adults that are already making their own conscientious decisions. I'm really I don't like when people call their kids sexy. I see people post their kids and be like, "Oh, my baby, that's my baby. She's so sexy, 2 or 3."
And then make them pose and all that, like this. The 90s pose. You know what I'm talking about when they poke the back out?
Right, or dropping it like it's hot. Crop tops. Even shopping. Like I have I have teenagers, and then I have my 10-year-old. I can't shop for her in the junior section because now she's developing a woman of a body. Everything juniors is short shorts, crop tops. This is how you're telling junior girls 12, 13, 14, 15 to dress,
Billie Eilish,
to draw sexual attention to themselves. I remember going through that. I remember going through that phase. I was sexualized at such a young age because especially when I started developing, I could feel grown men and the eyes on me. I never enjoyed, even now to this day, like if people be like, a man approaches me and he's like, "Oh, you mad sexy," I'm immediately turned off because what you're identifying with me is sex. Right? It's not just, beautiful, that's pretty. These are different comments because you're looking at me.
Different.
Right. Because when you approach someone, you're like, "Damn, you sexy." What you're thinking about is, "Ooh, I'd like to get in that. Ooh, what I'd like to do to that." You're approaching it with a sexual undertone and not with "I'd like to get to know you better. You're really pleasant to look at." You know what I mean?
Pleasant.
I find you to be beautiful. I enjoy listening to you speak. I think that you're captivating. No, you come out with the sexy. I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And toodles.
Hit them with the deuces. It's been real.
Hit them with the deuces.
It's been real. I gotta go. Yo.
What's up, Chris? Thank you for watching.
Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Shout out to Chris. But I know, are you a Meek Mill fan?
I am, actually.
Here we go. He just dropped his new album. It says my name right now, the name of it. But
I haven't downloaded it. I need to.
I've listened to a few songs of it. It's more of Meek Mill, you know what I mean? And he's getting.
How does it compare to his last album? Because his last album to me was fire, but he was
Championships
hungry.
Was right.
He was hungry. Yeah, he was hungry when he came back.
You have to understand. At that time, he was fighting for his life right there.
I know.
He was like, you know what I mean? He was going against Drake. He was going against Drake and
But they came back together, right?
We ain't come back together. In my opinion, you know what I mean?
For that song, I mean, which I thought was dope.
They did, but he did that to help that man out, respectfully.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because after he did what he did at back to back, his sales plummeted. When I seen that Burger King and McDonald's was sitting there having the back-to-back record on, and they were joining with the memeing and beefing with Meek Mill, I was just like, oh nah. I've never seen some place that sells burgers. They sell burgers. They said, let me get in on this back-to-back since he's getting eaten. But this is what they do. Like I think it's Burger King now that has whatever that TikTok where people are doing this thing, all of the nonsense that they're doing. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, I'm explaining this. This is the answer to my question. Who gives a shit, right?
But now they got the stupid king dancing around to the song. I'm like, yo, everything is whatever's trending. Let's jump on it and try to ride that wave. It's so
KFC got its own video game console, and then when they said that, they made a console that could make chicken, and it's a game. KFC, look it up.
I'm weak. FMI.
It's a good idea.
But never ends.
It's a good idea, but nobody will eat no KFC. I've never seen anybody wake up, well, damn, son, I gotta go get some KFC.
Right. I've never heard that in my life on the wake up.
If y'all want to give us a sponsorship, I can maybe try to get some people eating.
Absolutely.
But you know what I mean?
Listen.
But back to Meek Mill. Now, he dropped his new album, but he had a bus driving around Philly, and a father was outraged. A Caucasian father was just like, this what you think is cool, Meek Mill? Because the album cover, I think it's a famous painting, or he had a famous painter painted, I think Velasquez. He put the cover art on the bus, and it shows black women bending over in like a cartoon figure, the figure we're wearing blackface.
Oh, Lord.
And then a small pink vagina popping on a bus, wrapped around a bus. So the guy's like, this is how you want black women to be showed? This is what you want? Black women, this is how you want to be treated? Is this how you want Meek Mill? Is this what you want? My daughters, my kids have to get on the bus and see your album cover wrapped around with a vagina on it. And this is what y'all want to be portrayed as.
Right.
And
see this.
Outrage culture or not, VPR. After I watch that, there comes some accountability. If you got some time, watch the video. There comes some accountability of the things that we put forward, the things that we say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yep. I watch entertainers say outlandish things. They can't say anything about certain communities, but they can say things about blacks. I watch, in the NFL right now, John
Say it again.
He's speaking about gays, blacks. And it's not my fault. He gets to walk off.
Gay comments. He got fired for the gay comments and not for the black comments.
And VPR,
the backlash isn't the same.
I am not here to tear down no other person, man. But what I'm saying is, how is this comment acceptable? He said something about blacks. He said their lips are like Michelin tires or whatever the case may be. And he went to say something about the gays. The media before that, when it just came out about the blacks, they were just like, oh, he apologized and he was trying to let it blow over.
Yep.
But when it came out about the gays, then they had to get him out of there.
Yep.
What are we talking about, VPO?
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about with that certain community? You know what I mean? And it's not not a knock on them. It's more of a saying that
where's the equality across the board?
For everyone. That's my thing.
For everyone.
You know what I mean?
And for people that have been oppressed in this country for so long. Like I even stated the other day about Native Americans. And listen, they were tortured and killed and raped. They deserve all sorts of reparations. But our people were too. There's a checkbox. Like if you're of Native American descent or whatever, there's certain things that through the government or whatever, school, loans, funding, that you're able to get access to other programs because of the way that your people have been treated and were treated in this country. And the United States recognizes that. But why don't they recognize the fact that we were as well and are still oppressed as people, still redlined in many, many areas, from jobs to housing, equal medical care? I can even tell you, and I've been dealing with back issues for the longest. I have had so many issues with doctors because a lot of them just don't give a shit.
But you look into the studies, right? How when it comes to minorities,
muscle relaxers. Oh yeah. Oh,
when it comes to minorities, they're just trying to get you in and out. They're just trying to get you in and out. While others, people of other cultures, you can look this up, VPR. While people of other cultures, they'll sit down and spend more time. But when it came to people that are minorities, doctors are like, they don't want to release. I'm just like, when I found that out and the way we were studied in books, the way how our anatomy was built differently. Black men have this, and this is why I'm like,
And that's why they always wanted to do those studies. Go back to the Tuskegee study and the many, many different studies that went into place. Pain is a big thing where they feel like we can tolerate pain. Is why they used to operate on men and women without using any sort of anesthesia, and poking and prodding to see what sort of responsiveness and to do testing and scientific research. And it's sickening. It's sickening. I'm so ready to just go live on like an island somewhere and just kind of leave all of the, be like, hey, man, welcome to VPR, man, with the beach in the background. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that.
We're live from the beach today, baby.
Give me a coconut and some lime. All right, and I'm gonna figure out how to make a margarita somehow, some way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I got the tequila, partner. I got you, and the salt.
Only on Thursdays, y'all can tune into VPR Radio, one of the best energy with co-hosts, of course, Kiana the Goddess, running things. But Kiana, how much millions will it take for you to get a COVID shot? 200 million is good enough? 80 million? How much? I'm just asking.
I'm going to say no comment, partner.
Okay, no comment. Well, I bring that up to say Jersey resident Kyrie Irving, I'm a basketball fan. He used to play for this team here, but
yes,
he has decided to not get the COVID shot. And
right.
In the NBA, that is something that they're not happy with, especially being in New York here, Brooklyn. Brooklyn, let's go hard. So this man is about to lose a large change of money.
Hundreds of millions, right? Hundreds of millions.
And the league doesn't like that. They don't like that he's exercising his option to do so.
Correct.
And now, for me, he went on live last night. He was just touching on a few things because all these sports analysts have been tearing him down over this COVID shot. How dare you not get it? And he comes out and says,
"How not stand with your people?" Mm-hmm.
He comes out and says, "I'm not doing this just to raise a storm or anything. I'm doing this for my personal choice, but I'm also doing this because I promised I would have certain abilities to still play basketball that you guys didn't fall through on, like exemptions."
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't give him the exemption, so he's a little bit pissed off about that. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting here like 180 million, my brother. I ain't knocking it. You probably made that 10 times over right now.
Right.
But what is you gonna do, Kiana? Where do you go with that?
Listen, I don't think, whatever your choice is in regards to the vaccine, getting it, not getting it, I think it should be a choice. I don't agree with these choices being removed. A lot of teachers are now out of work because they've refused to get the vaccination. And I can tell you that currently, and my kids are home today because I got a letter last night that there's a possible case in the school. So you've kicked out the teachers. All the teachers that are there now are vaccinated, and there's still a case possibly of COVID. So I haven't seen where having the vaccine is slowing it down, because with the vaccine, you can still get COVID and you can still pass it, right? And I think that we don't even have enough science and data to say that anything is a reassurance on what they said, because we can just go back to the beginning of the pandemic and how many things were said and then disqualified, and they said the exact opposite of what they had originally told you. So we could go back to Dr. Fauci from 2020 up until now and look at the different range of things that the CDC has said, that he said, and you can see that nothing is for sure, right? Nothing is for certain. I think it's a very worrisome time that we're living in, where you can't make an active choice. If masking up has been a provision in which people are remaining safe, masking is supposed to stop you from spreading it, right?
But and at first they said that wasn't a thing. But I'm like,
but now that's what they've said. It's shown, studies have shown, whatever studies, right? Because they contradict each other. But last I heard, studies have shown that masks will help regulate the actual carryover of the disease from person to person, whereas the vaccine does not. It just minimizes, allegedly, if someone has the vaccine, their ability to get it really, really badly and, be on a ventilator, et cetera, et cetera. But you can still pass it right over. So what's safer and what's not? And why is it that now the choice is being taken away and people are being fired? These are civil liberties, basic civil liberties that have been completely taken away in front of us, and people are being fired because they're making a choice about their body. I mean, it's scary. We see what happened in Texas with the abortion laws. We are living in a very, very uncertain time.
It's funny because the more we go on, we're giving up our liberties willingly. Every time we accept certain things, yeah, they're tracking me, but it's for the app. It'll be fine. Until you see how they're making money off of that. Until you see how they're making your life a little bit harder, where you're stressed or you're depressed because you're always seeing people progressing. You're always seeing this COVID. You're always seeing this negative fight news. You're on TikTok.
Talk about it.
We don't spend any time creating for ourselves. We just spend time in taking everyone else's content, whether it be life, and we judge it. And that's how, just guys, please, as much as you watch VPR, make sure y'all turn your phones Thursday at 11 a.m. every morning. After that, y'all can turn it off. You know what I'm saying? Take a little break from social media.
Shut it down at 12 o'clock. Right. But if you're going to tune into something that's going to be positive and that's going to feed your spirits. We're never here to tear anyone down, to say negative things. I love the fact that we never attack pop culture the way a lot of other shows do. Like, oh, did you hear about that? And now let's drag it. Let me tell you something. I told you that I turn on, I don't watch the news much. Every Wednesday, I'll turn on either TMZ or Wendy Williams to catch up, because I know you always know about what's happening with pop culture, so I like to know. I made the mistake of turning on Wendy Williams yesterday. I'll never turn her on.
How's her show doing? I don't watch it. I hopefully she watch my show one day.
She says the most disgusting things about people that it overwhelmed me so much. I had to and gets away with it. And I said to myself, wow, it's clear why the suffering that you've endured in recent times has been so prevalent, because you say the most attacking and just deplorable things about people. For instance, Diana Ross apparently wants to get back into music. That's fantastic. I love her. I love her daughter, Tracy. They're extremely, extremely talented. Yeah. I want to see her on the stage. I'm coming out. She looks fabulous. She's like 80 years old. She looks freaking fabulous. Well,
I seen Flavor Flav do it. She could do it.
Absolute Gloria Gaynor, like all of our greats, let them perform. There should be no sort of ageism when it comes to any sort of music. And we talk about this a lot with hip hop as well.
She was saying something about it.
She had the nerve to say, she shouldn't be doing that. She should be going to shows and stuff, because that's when you go on stage and have the big one. What?
For somebody that never got on. Well, you know what? I ain't going to.
How could you ever even wish or speak that sort of thing into somebody's life?
But she made a career of this, you know what I mean? And she has. If you really want to look at it, she's planted a lot of seeds as far as other podcasters and radio personalities with that way of interviewing, with that way of bringing news.
Chris said, "I'm surprised no one jumped her yet."
Yo, you know what I'm saying? Bro, she has her own battles. She had a divorce. And she's been passed down on stage and farted on stage. It'd be like that sometimes. And you know what I mean? That's why I can't even ring on her, or you know what I'm saying, but she definitely needs to try to chill.
And I won't. Right, because let me tell you something. The way that you treat other people, things that you say about other people, the negativity that you talk will come right back into your life. You're speaking those things into your life. So when you're laughing about someone's mishaps or someone's mistakes, there was a young woman, I don't know, she was 21 apparently. I don't even know the whole story because that's when I caught it.
Yeah.
But the girl might go away for 99 years. She's 21. She has 6 or 7 kids. She attacked somebody and she may go to jail for 99 years. And she starts laughing about how her 1-year-old son, she wouldn't get out until her son is 100 years old. How is that funny? How is anybody going to jail for that long? For the woman might be mentally challenged. We don't know. How is that funny? She didn't kill somebody. She attacked them. How is that funny or something to laugh at? I don't get my kicks or my laughs off of other people's misery or suffering.
Some people, it's easy to kick people when they're down. And, for clicks, people are willing to do a lot. But look at the titles. I still can't. I'm going to be honest with y'all, VPR. I can see these things, and I can't put out a bad article about somebody.
Nope.
Or at least I can't personally do it. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't want them to do it to me. And I'm not perfect. You know what I mean?
I've turned down work. I've turned down work that goes against my ethical standing. Like when I was going to get hired for this gossip site, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do it. Yeah, I can't write every day about people and be offensive. I can't. And even if I don't even have a byline, I can't do that. I'm going to feel empty on the inside. But as always, partner, it's great chopping it up with you. But I definitely want to introduce our guest, Namel, up to the stage, who's here of 4 Wheel City. Let's get him on up here. Hi, Namel. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? Can y'all see me good?
All
right.
Yeah, we can see you.
All right.
Can you hear us and everything?
Yeah, let's try to get this. All right. There we go. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, welcome to VPR Radio. We're happy to have you here. I'm gonna let my partner set it off because I know he has a lot of questions.
All right,
man. Just being on your Instagram, you've been here, you've been there, you've been on so many publications. Just being a great individual with your policies and your stance on that. Let's just touch on that before we get into music and everything that your career embodies, man.
Well, I mean, like it's just a journey of I gotta say blessings. A lot of it is blessings. I think purpose filled. A lot of things that I've done alongside my partner Rick is kind of dreams I had since a kid. A lot of it steered in the direction of advocacy mixed with the music. Being able to come from the Bronx where hip hop started and being able to like travel the world and go to the places like United Nations and work with people like Stevie Wonder and stuff and Snoop Dogg. It's been kind of like surreal, but I think on the back end of a lot of that, I think it's because like it's part of my journey and the things that the assignments that I have to do. I'm a very spiritual person, so I feel like I'm like a voice for people. It's bigger than me and bigger than Rick. That's how I feel about it, and it's like just here just doing my part.
Okay. My question is now, when you were heading to the UN that day, how did you feel? Explain to me, waking up that morning like, yo, I'm going to the UN.
Well, it's crazy because actually the elevator in my building was broke that morning, that day, and I had to get carried down the steps to get there. Shout out to my cousin L, who was with us that day, and a couple of homies that was in my building helped me get down the steps. So that's how the day started to get there. And then once we was going inside, like for me, a lot of stuff that we do, it don't really hit me until I actually see it in the moment. So I don't really let it affect me until it's like actually the moment. Until I see it like come to play. So it's like I didn't really like want to get too hype and then be disappointed about anything that might go sideways or not my expectations. So I stay like very, even queued to like until like the moment of truth. And once we rolled into the room where we're going to perform, and I seen like it looked like the room was from TV. So I was like, yo, this is really like the United Nations. This ain't like some conference room where like we really about to be like
that,
from the United
Nations, the UN
for the X.
And what was crazy about it was we wasn't there to like be shucking and jiving. Like we actually got to state our claim to what we do as far as talking about disability, accessibility, and talking about mainstream inclusion for people and employment and to achieve their dreams. So the fact that we got to perform there was for the disability convention, and I just felt that it was really fitting to be able to like, first of all, hip hop, because hip hop I don't remember ever seeing somebody rap on that stage before. I'm big into hip hop. I don't remember seeing that visual myself, like a rapper like on that platform before. So that really was like very big to me. But then they really actually say something and have like a voice for something in that moment too. Like that was something I always forget. And I wore my Africa hat that day. So I don't know, because I felt like, a lot of times when we do stuff coming from the disability space, being Black artists, Rick and I, like, I feel like sometimes we get invited to a lot of rooms because of our talent and our subject matter. But sometimes I don't need to say it. Last year, Black Lives Matter came out, but if you look at a lot of stuff that we've done, we stay true to like our core values of being like true to the culture and our Blackness. So that day, I just felt like I wanted to really represent for like the motherland and that hat. I feel like the United Nations, and I was like, okay, so, and it was so funny when we got in there, they actually have like a whole corridor of like African art that they say was gifted to the United Nations, like from Uganda, and statues and stuff. Like we did a video, Leaders of the New World. We put like some of the highlights in there, but it's kind of crazy how much African culture is inside the United Nations, though. So and
Yes.
when I see that, and I always see that I'm wearing that hat, I feel like very proud about that, because I feel like it was a representation thing. Like today, I'm wearing
Yes.
my pink hat for breast cancer awareness. And my mom
Yes.
had to bring out the pink logo, so it's always got to pay attention to a little details sometimes.
Yes. So this is the month for a lot of awareness of very important topics, including breast cancer, including domestic violence, and also National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So I definitely want to talk about that, because you touched on that a little bit, and how you were speaking on inclusion. So I want to touch on that, and I also want to discuss your story and the gun violence that you experienced that put you in a wheelchair, and how that has inspired you to become who you are today.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so I'm big on breast cancer awareness and awareness more, because my mom passed away from breast cancer 2007.
Sorry to hear that.
And she's very vital to the movement, because she actually introduced Rick and I, after my injury. Rick was in a chair like 2 years before me, and he lived in the next building from me. And she approached him one day and was like, "Yo, my son just got in the chair." He gave his number, and that's how me and Rick connected and started doing music from the day we met. So, you know, so with her, it's like she's part of the movement. And then we have a lot of things that we kind of put out. I think it's important to put music on platforms. So like when we first started doing music together, there was like a time where um Rick would give me beats, and I just would like try to get find my voice and just get my skills back to where it was. I was in the hospital for like 6 months after I got shot. That's how I got in a wheelchair. I got shot by my cousin playing around with a gun, 1999. And I was young, and I was rapping before then, growing up in the Bronx, like most of the people. Shout out to my block, the Bronx, 169, 70, Wash. All the people like I grew up with was rapping. And after this happened to me, I was like, I thought I couldn't do it no more. I thought like I pretty much thought my life was over in terms of like things I used to do. And but little by little, working with Rick and being able to like get my skill sets back, I started to see things that I wasn't to my liking, and I started to like put it in my music. And that's how like we started to begin to form like a voice for Forward City. We wasn't Forward City at the time, but it was like being creative, but at the same time starting to like say things about what I was going through. I started to make songs about I was angry at people, but I wouldn't say nothing to them, but I would make a song, but it would be something about the wheelchair. And then that just like evolved into like going into like stuff that was bothering me out in the world, like uh, stuff being inaccessible. So once we did that song, The Movement, we got to perform it at a fundraiser for the National Spinal Cord Injury Association, and they like everybody in there just went crazy. I guess that was the first time they heard somebody like rap about that. And like so at the time we had no idea about no disability employment month. We had no idea about like the Americans with Disability. I never even heard of none of that stuff. I didn't know what that was. But the music from that day of that song, it just started it just like what they call that thing in the ocean when it starts spinning like that. Like that whirlpool, like a whirlpool. Like ever since that moment, it was like we went into a whirlpool of like music and advocacy, because like people started like to invite us to perform. We started getting more knowledge about stuff, and that's how we started to brand Forward City with our music and trying to help people with it and going into schools. That was a very important thing, because I went to speak one time at a school. This is early on, like right when we were starting Forward City, and we didn't have like nothing for the kids. And I wasn't even thinking about it at the time. And like they asked me to rap. And I was like, I said a rap from the song called In My Shoes, but I was like, that's cool, but we need to like directly speak. I need a song to like speak to the kids. If I'm ever gonna do this again, I gotta have something that's gonna speak directly to them when I do the rap. So that's when me and Rick came up with this song, Welcome to Reality. And then that opened up a lot of doors. So we started going to schools and speaking to the youth about like gun violence. Cause this happened to me when I was like 17 or 18.
So
like,
young.
right, yeah, a month away from turning 18.
Wow.
And I just remember like not nobody couldn't tell me nothing, but I just remember like it had to be real. Like I had to feel like I could relate to them. And I feel like that's something I've always had after this happened to me. So I want to be able to like give that back. Cause I know I do mentoring too, with people who just get injured. And I feel like I'm a very genuine person, and I feel like when I try to speak to people like that, is coming from a place of like I know what you're going through, and I know what you've been through. So I'm not trying to talk down to you. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually been in your shoes before. So like when I
A
think
lot
when
of people
people,
from our community don't understand that. You know what I mean? They always think
yeah,
everybody's out to get them. So I can definitely.
Agreed.
yeah,
And I think
so
it's
like
hard to mentor someone when you can't be relatable, right? They're like, you're trying to
exactly.
give me advice, but you have no idea how I feel.
Exactly. And for me, I feel like I know how a lot of people feel. I know how the kids feel because, like, yo, that happened to you at 17. Like, yeah. And I was
Right.
doing this, I was doing that. And I used to run the streets too. And that was because for me, the gun I got shot with, I shot before. So I
Wow.
know like both sides. You know what I
Sympathy and
mean?
empathy with that, yeah.
So it's like, so you can't tell me I'm just speaking like I'm speaking from a shooter side and getting shot side too. So I can give you like the insight to
Powerful.
that. Yeah.
Hmm.
That is.
So I just take that with a grain of salt. I'll be like, that's what I mean about the purpose stuff. It's just like I just be feeling like a lot of this stuff is just part of my story because it's for other people to like get something from or help other people. Like it's not it's like a blessing in a sense because a lot of times a lot of people like strive for a lot of this stuff and I had to like get shot and go through all these things for it to happen,
Right.
but it's happening. So I'm just like, okay, then it must be like we like trailblazers and pioneers to it. So I must
Blessing in
You're
disguise.
absolutely, no, you're not even like, you're definitely trailblazers and pioneers. And I think it's wonderful because we need that. We need that sort of inspiration. And your story is definitely awe-inspiring. And you're just so humble and to want to continue to reach out to people, like you said, people that have just been injured, you mentor them. That's such an integral time for them, right? Because like you said, you were young. I'm sure you're going through so much anger and no one can really relate. So to have you there for that, I think is really key.
yeah,
I want to talk a little bit about a lack of accessibility because this
yeah,
isn't even comparable. But I can tell you that as a mom, going on the trains with strollers and stuff, there's so few elevators
yeah,
in the New York City systems. I can only imagine as a person with a disability how frustrating that is. I've seen where they've been fighting to get more elevators and stuff in the systems. Can you tell
Yeah,
us
I've been watching that also.
about right? Can you tell us about the lack of accessibility? What that means for you, and whether you think that there'll be some change in having more inclusion and accessibility
yeah,
wherever we go for people that have disabilities.
yeah. That's so that's like I feel like that's the heart of Four Wheel City, like the accessibility stuff, because that's the first song that really put us on the map, and we did from the heart, and didn't even have no idea it was all these organizations and platforms out there fighting for it too. And so me personally, like I always um on the movement is like let's say first I like to say rest in peace to Christopher Reeves, but I got something on my chest that's been bothering me. What's the problem, B? When I'm out in the streets, it's like I can't go nowhere. What's wrong with me? I come when I go to the store, I gotta call first to see if it's wheelchair accessible. I come, they treat me like a vegetable. Like I ain't here, and I can say I don't care, but the truth is I can't walk up the stairs, so I need a ramp and an elevator too. And while you at it, bring accessible bathrooms. When you want the same thing if it happened to you. That verse right there was like
everything.
Yeah,
Badass.
and it was so crazy because I when I wrote it, I didn't even have to think about it. I just was like, let me just say what it is. And so that verse, I say it a lot on interviews sometimes because it's like so self-explanatory to everything, how I feel about it. And that's why I wrote it that way, because it was like at the time, Christopher Reeves, rest in peace, Christopher Reeves, there was a lot of push for spinal cord research, like for people to recover and get injured. And that's all I was hearing about all the time. But then when I got in the chair, I was like, damn, nobody talking about, like I didn't hear like nobody talking about like what I was actually going through when I was actually trying to live my life this way. Now I was like, when I was trying to go to the store, or a lot of things I was trying to do was always like either I was like frightened, I was like traumatized. I was like, I don't want to go, and then I can't get in, or this is happening because it happened. So I wanted to speak up about that, and I feel like it's actually it's changing. I see like a lot of I'm going to say there has been improvement in terms of I see the effort in different ways. Like now they have like accessible taxis. I see there's more accessible stations. So little by little.
Do those accessible taxis cost more? Like if you're looking on an Uber, what's the time frame? Like if you were to order a regular Uber, is it a higher price? Is it a longer time that you have to wait?
On Uber, there is I would say the times I've used it, it's pretty much they're pretty good in terms of depending where you at though, because sometimes they don't have the accessible vehicles everywhere. But for the most part here in New York City, they might take a few minutes longer, but I'll be able to get them, and the prices are the same, just like the regular one. Like when you see the price and you scroll all the way down, it's the same price.
And it's too expensive. The regular one is too expensive.
Yeah. It's already too expensive. Right.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Accessorize has a program too with Bird taxis and with the yellow taxis. So, and the yellow taxis have lifts on them now too. So that's pretty good.
That's great.
I use them a lot. I feel like
definitely didn't have that 10 years ago.
Yeah. And the reason why I take them so much now is just because of that. I feel like I owe them, like, they owe me sometimes. I've been stranded places and had to take like 30 buses because there's no like trains or stations or missed Accessorize.
Sounds like you were in Rockaway.
Yeah, been out there, it kind of limits you. It limits your I guess like the way you kind of think about getting places, or how you wanna be. Like you might want to be spontaneous. Like, I'm gonna go here for a little while. I'm gonna go here for a little while, but everything, your life got to be kind of scripted, So now it's a little more freeing, but it's all a process. It's all a process, and I feel like things are trying to turn into the right direction with inclusion. And accessibility is a broad thing now. I'm seeing in terms of when we talk about inclusion too, and in terms of access to things like jobs, finances, and opportunities to work. Like we were saying earlier, this month is Disability Employment Awareness Month, and we're working on the video that we're going to release for our song Mainstream that we actually performed at the United Nations and spoke about at the White House, the Obama White House. That was like a few years ago.
Feel me?
Dopest White House in the game.
So
Obama forever.
Yeah. So and that thing started when we did it. It was a project for the year 2025 to decrease the disability poverty rate. So that's like an access thing, and that's what the song Mainstream is about. We're gonna release it next week.
That's amazing. Please make sure you get it to VPR. We'll definitely put it on our Spotify playlist, right, partner?
Yes, I will definitely make sure I get that there. All the people that listen on VPR, thank you for showing love to that playlist for all the artists that have graced VPR throughout these years. So, and I also want to ask you about your Fred the Godson and Snoop Dogg collaboration, because I've seen a few writings about that, and I want to hear about that, how that came about.
You know, saying like everything that happens is so funny. It just happens, and it's like in the moment, it's like, wow, that was crazy. But like Snoop Dogg was like, so a lot of my message to kids is like, use school, don't let school use you. Meaning like, don't go to school and think you gotta take in all this information and let them beat you down with the information. No, go seek information for what you want to do. Because one of the best places to help you with stuff is school. Like go to your, they got like the job department, speak to your counselors, you know, all that stuff.
Yes, so, I love that you talk about that.
I don't know. I'm about to say, I don't know if I had a job department at my high school. If they did,
that's what's so crazy. I'm almost certain that they did, though. A lot of these programs, a lot of like even STEM programs and stuff in public schools, they're underutilized. They get the funding for them, but they don't talk about it. And if you don't know that it's there, you don't get to utilize it.
That's true. And I say that because they did. Okay, so it's like stepping stones. So when I was in high school, after this happened to me, I had to go to the school I was going to wasn't wheelchair accessible, so I had to go to another school. And I just was there passing time. And one of the counselors was like, "Yo, all the kids, I kind of got left back because this happened to me. So when I went to this school, I felt like out of place. I felt like I was older than everybody, so I didn't really like engage with all the senior stuff going on. And I seen all the kids like
I'm with these kid games.
Yeah, right. So and then the counselor came to me. He's like, well, "You're not trying to go to college?" I'm like, "Go to college in a wheelchair?" This is how I used to think. Go to college in a wheelchair? You crazy? I don't even want to be here. But he was like, fill out this city college application, and you can list like 4 schools or whatever. And I got accepted to LaGuardia College. I'm saying that because of what you said, DJ. Like, see, they didn't have the job thing in that school, but they had a counselor who told me to apply. My mother used to always tell me apply myself. So I just filled out the application, and like a week before school was starting, LaGuardia Community College sent me a acceptance letter. So I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And me and my mother went. I filed for a couple of classes or whatever. Same thing happened. I didn't want to be there, but like after about my second semester, I started to like it, and I started to like get involved with stuff. And then I had like my first mixtape, and this dude that used to be in the school, he owned the record store across the street. And
you see how things just come together. I love that. You're in school, right? You didn't even think you could go to college, but now you apply.
I didn't even want to be in the
He
school.
owns the record store. Go ahead, keep going, because I love it coming together.
That's why I started to go to school. And so me and him used to talk because I had the CD and I had the Joker on it. It was called The Flow Is Crazy, and it was hot. Everybody was liking it, and I gave it to him like to try to sell it for me. This is like the 50 Cent mixtape era. Everybody had their mixtape.
Right.
So I was like, "Yo," and he was like, "Yo, I want to see you more. You on there?" He gave me like good advice. Fast forward like maybe years later, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm doing 4 Wheel City now. I wasn't doing 4 Wheel City at the time. I bumped into him in the club, and we exchanged numbers. And then he called me like, "Yo, I'm working with Snoop Dogg. I told him about you."
Wow.
And that's how I link with Snoop Dogg, like that.
Crazy.
So that's why I tell sometimes you gotta like
just like that.
Yeah.
Go to school.
Go to school.
The moral of the story, he figured it out.
And nurture your relationships.
Exactly.
You know, and honor those relationships. They always say your network is your net worth, and I live by that.
And people always say it's about who you know, but I believe it's more about how you get to know who you know.
Absolutely.
Because you can know anybody if you know how to get to them.
Yep.
So that's what it's more about. Like how you get to know who you know is more important than actually who you know. You know.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
This has been such.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh no, Fred the Godson.
Go to Fred Godson.
Yeah, Fred the Godson, rest in peace. He was a really cool dude. Me and him just happened to link at a open mic I did. Not an open mic, like a showcase for guns mic down, guns down, mic up.
Guns down, life up, or mic up. Oh,
mic
okay.
Up. Yeah, and
Nice.
we performed there, and then we linked. I went to his album release, and me and him just got cool, man. Then we did. It's so crazy because we did the song. Like, he sent me the verse maybe January, and then he passed away. And I was like, wow, like I have text messages like from his album, like that same like a month or two before, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And me, that was like
so crazy.
His album release was September of 2019. We did the song like in January, and then he passed away. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But I feel blessed that, I feel blessed that we was able to connect that way. And we even when we met, like we linked at Quad Studios, we took a picture with Big behind us, and I got my Big shirt on right now. But it was like,
yes, sir, baby. Shout out to Quad Studios too.
Yeah, even because he's the godson, so he's spiritual. Like even when we first met, we felt that like that synergy, like like we was meeting for a reason.
So,
and that's beautiful, because I know when you came here, you specifically use that word purpose, and I just feel like you are living in your purpose in such a profound way, and I'm sure you don't even realize how many people you've been able to touch. I mean, I know I'm touched. I'm so happy that we were able to delve more into your story. We would love to invite you back because we're running out of time, but I definitely want to get into more. I know you guys are dropping more music, so would love to have you back for sure. Please let everybody know where they can follow you. And then, of course, you said you're dropping your new song next week. So where can they get that? Or they, can they access the video? Tell them about your website. Everybody, please make sure you go and follow Namel and his partner.
Yeah, we 4 Wheel City, the number 4. Like you see on the hat. Let me get it in there. 4 Wheel City. I can't. There you go. And you just look that up anywhere. We're gonna come up. Anywhere.
Super like branded. I love it.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure you tune into the one and only VPR every Thursday. And also, we're going to have his music added to the playlist. Shout out to 4 Wheel City for happening today and bringing all this positive light, love, and energy.
Love the fours. Facts.
Inspire, educate, advocate, entertain. That's what it means.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Thank you so much, Namel. It's been such a blessing and an honor. Definitely can't wait to have you back. I'll actually hit your email so we can get you scheduled on for one of our next open shows. We appreciate you. Please have a wonderful day and continue to do what you do, because you're absolutely fantastic.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Blessed day, my brother.
Peace out. Thank you. VPR, another amazing episode. This is why I love what we do, partner.
VPR. I know you've been watching with the website. There's been a lot of new things that we've been working on. So just, work with us in that process. And tune in every Thursday. I can't wait.
Tune in every Thursday. We're here. We're inside. We're outside.
We inside, outside.
And we're inside, outside, and outside, inside. But we love you for watching always. We want you to stay positive. We hope that you got some inspiration and some encouragement from this show, because that's all we look to bring to you every single week, every single Thursday, right here on Facebook. And again, you can stream us straight from our website, www.vpradio.org. Stream us, subscribe, go to our VPR Radio group. We love to have active discussions. You can get exclusive questions. We'll be giving away free merchandise, et cetera, et cetera. So love you for watching. Please make sure you follow my incredible partner, DJ FMI. If you're not, finally made it. The most amazing DJ on the planet and a phenomenal partner.
Make sure you follow the one and only goddess of purple, Kiana the Goddess, VPR extraordinaire. Guys, it's been another amazing Thursday. Thank you for tuning in.
Have a great day, guys. Ciao.